Spooky town, we won't play around. I got bones in the back, if we take 'em out. Black cat, keep it to yourself.
Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're doing mostly spooky Mondays. So you guys know what to do. Get your snacks, get your candy, all that good stuff you like to do, and just enjoy and sit down and watch some little scary stuff. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Dogsound.wav.
Alexa, turn off the light.
Okay.
Steve, is that you? Steve? Steve, help!
Good morning, Blue. Blue. Blue, where are you? Oh look, a clue. A Blue's Clues. What the fuck does that mean? Whatever, I will look for her later or something. Anyway, now it is time to open letters.
We just got a letter. I wonder who
That one was really crazy. It was really weird, but yeah, on to the second animation. Let's get into it.
My name is Amber, and ever since my childhood, I've experienced sleep paralysis a lot more than the average person. And let's just say, it's one of the most unpleasant things you can experience. Since childhood, I've always had vivid hallucinations when I was experiencing sleep paralysis, and they've always scared me, even to this day. This story is one of the most terrifying things that have and ever will happen to me in my lifetime. It all started in late January. I had just moved into this new house in a small village on the island of Hawaii. My house was near a deep pond, and I got it for a good deal because it was supposedly haunted, and no one else wanted to purchase it. But I've never really believed in the paranormal or anything like that, so I just saw the good deal on a decent sized house and took it. A few weeks after buying the house, a big snowstorm hit one night, causing the power to go out and snowing me in. I couldn't see a thing, so I decided that I would head to bed early and get an early start on unloading boxes the next day. I hopped into bed, pulled my blankets over me, and fell asleep in the pitch black room. I woke up to the noise of tapping at my window. I tried to get up but realized I couldn't move at all. Sleep paralysis took over my whole body. The strange boy kept staring at me. His eyes were pitch black as if he had no pupils. He had a wide, inhuman, devilish grin, and his teeth were huge. I was terrified and wanted to scream, but I couldn't and was forced to watch him. I kept telling my mind that it was just a hallucination, but it was a lot more vivid than any other hallucination that I had ever had. Then in a split second, he was gone. I calmed myself, thinking it's all going to be over soon now. My fear started to rise when I heard the noise of clanging in the kitchen. Did he break into my house? I was getting paranoid. I couldn't move. I strained my eyes to try to see the bedroom door through the darkness, and I could see something. A figure standing on the other side of my bedroom door. He slowly opened the door. It was the boy. I could hear every footstep he made. He continued to creep towards my bed, and I could see his devilish grin from the corner of my eye. He just stood there for minutes, and it was lasting longer than any sleep paralysis I had ever experienced. I felt that I was about to die. I was just praying it would be over soon. My prayers were answered, and I was finally able to move again. The boy was gone. The next morning when I woke up, I felt something strange as I walked on the carpet. The carpet was soaking wet. And at that point, it hit me. Was it really a hallucination? Or did someone actually come into my room last night? I shared this incident with some of the neighbors, and it turns out there was a spooky story about the pond near my new house. Back in 1947, a group of kids were playing on the banks of the pond. One boy accidentally tripped over a log and fell into the water. Before any of the other children could react, the boy sank beneath the water surface. For a few moments, they waited for him to resurface, but there was no sign of him. Horrified, they ran back to the village to get help. Some local men came as fast as they could and dived into the pond searching for the young boy. They were terrified by what they found. The boy was sitting on a rock at the very bottom of the pond. His arms were hanging down by his sides and his body was swaying back and forth with the currents. His eyes were wide and his mouth was hanging open, but he was dead in the water. The eerie sight sent shivers down the spines of the men who had dived in to save him. They were deeply disturbed and said it was such an unusual way to drown. It was as if the boy had calmly sat down on the rock and waited there to die. Ever since, bizarre rumors began to spread around the area. Many villagers believed that the ghost of the drowned boy lurked beneath the deep waters of the pond. They said that at night he would come to the surface cold, wet, and shivering. His icy hands clutching at unsuspecting victims and trying to pull them into his watery grave. According to the rumors, he was trapped in this world by accident, and the only way he could escape was to find someone else to take his place at the bottom of the pond. As I mentioned before, I don't really believe in the paranormal, but that creeped the hell out of me. After that, I put my house up for sale as I am no longer able to sleep peacefully in this house. A strange, eerie feeling always keeps me restless. But unfortunately, so far no one has come to view the house or made any offers, as it was famous for being haunted. My current situation does not allow me to rent a house, so I am stuck here. I just hope I am able to get out of this place.
I think that one was scarier than the first one. The first one was just really weird. But let's move on to the next one.
Maayong gabi, it is currently midnight here in Cebu City, and here's your nightly reminder to be cautious of the creature. There have already been 3 deaths this week, so wear your garlic, say your prayers, and if you hear its high-pitched call, run. Now, it does not attack everyone. It seems to only be targeting young children and expectant mothers. So please keep your children and any pregnant women you know safe. I'm Annabelle Cruz with the Nightly News.
Ama namin, sumasalangit ka, sambahin ang ngalan mo. Mapasa amin ang kahalayan mo. Sundan ang loob mo. Dito sa lupa, para ng sa langit.
That was legit so creepy and disgusting. That one, I think that was one of the scariest ones I've ever seen. Like that way that creature looked just hideous and so weird. Oh my gosh. But anyways, moving on to the last and final one. Hope you guys enjoying. Alright, let's get into it.
Window to the soul.
This story was inspired by a submission from Elaine Buckner. A long time ago, I went to an antique store with my dad. We had just finished lunch nearby and wanted to poke around at the local shops. There were a lot of really interesting items, vintage furniture and old paintings, but I was immediately drawn to the section where all the dolls were. I loved dolls, especially the porcelain ones that closed their eyes when you lay them down to sleep. I picked one up and was admiring her golden-hued irises when I heard a voice call out to me. It was an old lady sitting behind the counter. I assumed she was the owner.
"You like dolls, little lady?"
she croaked, her voice coarse and dry. I nodded enthusiastically. "Yes, I do." She motioned for me to come over to the counter.
"That's a very special doll,"
she continued.
"Her name is Savannah. She was mine when I was a young girl, just like you."
The old lady continued to ask me questions about my life, my interests, my hobbies, my goals in life. I was used to older people being friendly and inquisitive, so I didn't mind at all.
"I just love children," the lady said. "So full of life, so much potential. Not like me. My sight's not what it used to be. Enjoy every moment of your youth, dear."
My dad joined me at the counter, but when I showed him Savannah, he told me he wasn't going to buy me yet another doll, then headed back outside. Dejected, I placed the doll back on the counter when the old lady handed it back to me and winked. I hadn't really noticed how white her eyes were before. I thanked her and left the store. Savannah was my new favorite doll. Even though she was from an antique shop, she was in very good condition. I loved twirling her soft blonde ringlets of hair. Her dress had beautiful embroidered patterns that were extremely fun to run my fingers over. She was the latest addition to my afternoon pretend tea parties, where I'd prop up my dolls in a circle, along with my baby sister, Lexi. I was sipping make-believe tea and gabbing about my imaginary travels all over the world. But I noticed that Lexi was upset. She was usually a happy, quiet baby, but she was frowning and whimpering. "Doll," she mumbled. I grabbed one of my older dolls and waved it in front of her, but it didn't seem to cheer her up. I thought maybe Savannah might be able to calm her down, so I grabbed her and brought her close. But that's when Lexi began screaming. I dropped Savannah and picked up my baby sister. I bounced her up and down in my arms, trying to calm her down. Once she'd stopped crying, I set her back down on the floor near Savannah, who was laying on her back. eyes closed shut. Over the next few days, Lexi continued to act up like this, but only when Savannah was around. I didn't want to admit it at the time, but Savannah was also starting to make me feel uneasy too. Her eyes, even though they were yellow, felt so real, so lifelike. I decided to put Savannah away in my closet. The next day, there was a knock on the door. I was in my room playing with my sister, and I heard my dad answer. Then I heard his voice get louder and more angry. I went over to see what was going on. Right outside the door was the old lady from the antique shop. How did she know where we lived? Why was she here? My dad turned to me. "Did you steal that doll?" he said accusingly. "She gave it to me," I replied defensively.
Don't worry, I'm not here to take her back,
The old lady explained.
I just wanted to see if you were enjoying her. Are you still playing with her?
I was quiet for a few moments. I didn't want to tell her that the doll actually creeped me out now and it was stuffed behind my clothes. So I lied. I love it.
It isn't polite to lie,
The old lady screeched. It caught me and my dad off guard.
You better take her out of that closet or I'll make you regret not appreciating your youth.
At this point, my dad basically shoved her off our front steps and slammed the door. I had no idea what had just happened. What was so special about that doll? I went back to my room and dug Savannah out of my closet. I looked deep into her yellow eyes, those hyper-realistic eyes. And then it hit me. I felt incredibly nauseous. I had brought Savannah with me everywhere. She'd slept in bed with me. She sat on the sink while I showered. She saw everything. The old lady saw everything. I knew what I had to do. I held Savannah high in the air and smashed her on the ground. Her face shattered all over the floor. Her glass eyes began to roll away and I rammed my shoe on top of each of them until they were no more than tiny bits. A wave of relief washed over me. I went to go celebrate my small victory with Lexi. I grabbed her under the arms and hoisted her up in the air, swinging her gently and smiling cheerily at her. I didn't put her down until I noticed her yellow-colored eyes.
Well, this week's been a crazy one. And I'd just like to thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys every single Monday for Mostly Spooky Mondays. And without further ado, guys, hope you guys enjoy. And I'm out. Peace.